Well, the markets are open. We're going to take a look. I'm Marlon Bowling with you, your tour guide to the ag commodities on what is going to be a short trading week. So buckle up. A lot of things can happen, especially when you get into the holiday type trading. And that usually means thin trading volume, and we could be seeing that this week. A lot of times that will exaggerate moves. So let's take a look and see how we're starting out, shall we? Again, I will remind you, no overnight export sales yet again. A lot of folks getting nervous about that. Okay, March corn is trading a penny and a half lower right now. We're at $4.36 per bushel, at a high overnight of $4.40, a low of $4.30. So basically just slightly above the halfway point there. Soybeans had that weird, wacky move around 7:30 this morning, and in about 4 minutes' time, it rallied 21 cents, and then in the next 4 minutes, it gave back about exactly half of that. And now it's just kind of elevating a little off of that level there. But January soybeans right now are 8 cents higher. We're at $12.28 per bushel, and the March contract is up 8 1/4 at $12.32 1/4. Let's take a look at our wheat market activity with our quotes provided by bar chart. We have March wheat in Chicago 3 1/4 lower. We're trading at $6.05 per bushel. Also wide trading ranges in the wheat market overnight. March Kansas City wheat now 2 1/2 lower at $5.66 3/4. In the Minneapolis spring wheat trade, March is down 2 3/4 cents at $5.65 3/4. I want to bring in Dewey Strickler of AgWatch Market Advisors in Franklin, Kentucky, and talk about what may happen this week. Dewey, always good to visit with you. Merry Christmas early. I won't get to talk with you again before the Christmas break, but what happened this morning and what is driving the market here today?
Well, I think, first of all, it happened in the overnight trade is probably likely one of the funds got a little bit cute. You got to remember that the funds are long, and they're going to be looking about liquidating some positions going into year end. So I'd attribute it to that. I don't pay too much attention to that. I consider that just more or less noise in the market.
So what do you think here? We're getting closer now to the end of the year, the trading year. And some folks have already been bringing that up, that maybe there's some positioning already taking place for that. What do you think?
There could be. I would expect that next week. I think that we're getting the soybeans in particular close to putting in a top. I'm going to look for about a 25-day correction in the market. Then I think we'll be looking at 30 to 50 days more on the upside. And then at that point, I think you're looking at a major top in the soybeans. It's going to last 6 to 8 months, maybe a year or longer here. And part of that, I think, is going to be attributed to the dollar. The dollar, I think, is approaching a major low.
Well, that is absolutely right. We did have the dollar down well under 90 cents last week. Right now, we're at 90.285, and it's about 330 points higher today, but boy, it has been declining quite a while. So you think the two are going to trade places here after the first of the year then?
I think they will.
Interesting. What do you base that on?
I base that on just my wave patterns.
So you follow Elliott wave, correct?
Yes, I do.
All right. Interesting stuff, and I'm glad you pointed that out. Dewey, we will pause right here, then we'll come back, and we will take a look at our livestock trade as well. I do want to take a peek at the Dow before we get into our break here. And on the Dow futures for the March contract right now, it is down 235 points. If you were with us last half hour when we were taking a look at the overnight trade, it was down about 300 points, and that was off of its earlier low overnight. So it's starting to rebound here a little bit. So interesting in the market movement here in the Dow futures. They had been as low as 29,318. Now they're at 29,879. So they've come back about 500 points from their earlier low. Keep an eye on that thing. That has been very choppy today, too. We'll come back and have more with Dewey Strickler right after this. Come on back. We are talking with Dewey Strickler, and now let's see how we're opening up this week in our livestock trade. Let's go to the board with our quotes provided by bar chart. On the live cattle trade, we have that February contract now $1 lower at 113.85. April is down 67, and we're trading at 117.97 per hundredweight. Now, this is interesting here this morning, the way we're opening up. Remember, In case you forgot, we had that cattle on feed report that came out last Friday after the markets closed, and it was called neutral, but here we go down today. January feeders are down 57 cents, and we're at 139.87 today. March is down 52 at 141.77, so definitely a weaker bias all across the cattle complex, at least in the early going today. Lean hogs, same story. February down 45 cents this morning at 65.35 per hundredweight. April down 47 at 69.45. So let's go back to Dewey Strickler. And Dewey, looking at the cattle on feed numbers that came out Friday, the average trade guesses that were out in advance of that report, I mean, USDA was just right in line with what everybody expected. So why the weakness today?
Well, I think, first of all, I've heard reports that we have a new COVID strain in the United Kingdom here. So I think this is kind of bringing some fears that maybe this COVID-19 is starting to mutate here. And if so, it would have an impact on possibly additional shutdowns and so forth. So I think that's really the culprit today.
All right, so what else are you going to be looking at here as far as the driving factor at the end of the year when it comes to our livestock trade?
I think we're going to have to get, into the first part, really maybe mid-January, to see how some of these things, like we just mentioned here about the COVID, how it's going to shake out. Are we going to start seeing the economy open up a little bit more here, or if we get a new administration in, is it going to shut down completely? So these are things we're going to have to look at.
All right, Dewey, great information. Thank you for joining us this morning, and Merry Christmas to you. Dewey Strickler of AgWatch Market Advisors. He's in Franklin, Kentucky. Janet, I'll kick it back to you.